we'll see the pledge and get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everybody. Board members, make sure your mics are on, and we'll get started tonight. Hopefully you found your way through the construction. It's a mess out there right now, but hopefully, speedily, we'll get this project behind us. Okay, our roll call tonight is everyone is present, and then we have the agenda that's before us. Any additions or deletions, I don't think? Anybody? No? If not, the agenda stands as presented. And tonight we have our auditor here, Matt Hahn from Cambridge, and we're going to turn it over to you.
All right, very good. I thank the board for the opportunity to be here tonight. Always a pleasure to be in Salem Township. And as has been the case in previous years, Lori and the team did a wonderful job providing us with the information that we needed in order to be able to conduct the audit. So we were provided a set of financial statements and trial balances, and we took those numbers, we confirmed and verified them with the state of Michigan, the county, the brokerage, as well as various financial institutions, and accordingly everything checked out. What matters more than anything else can be found on the second paragraph of page 1 of the report, and that's where we provide the opinion. And we wrote, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the township as of March 31st, 2025. This is a clean opinion on your financial statements, or the technical term according to the AICPA, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, is an unmodified opinion. That doesn't sound very flattering. Just it's more commonly referred to as a clean opinion on your financial statements. And essentially, it means that your controls are suitably designed and effectively operating, allowing you to receive accurate and timely and verifiable financial statements. Always should be the township's goal to get to that point, where you have a clean opinion on your financial statements, but certainly means something to achieve it. We have had larger organizations that couldn't stand behind the numbers that they provided to us, and we had to either qualify or in some regard modify their opinion. One other thing that's that's new on these financial statements is the fourth paragraph on page 1, and this is referred to as an emphasis of matter paragraph. And what we're trying to do is draw the reader's attention to a new standard that the township implemented during fiscal 25. Governmental Accounting Standards Board issued statement number 101, and it's a different way of looking at paid time off. So any accrued, sick, and vacation time. There's different ways that we have to measure and report that and include it in the township's financial statements. We did do that during the course of fiscal 25. It didn't have a material impact on your financial statements. No restatement was required as a result of the new standard, but it did have a minimal impact on your financial statement. So that's all that this is doing, is pointing out that there was a new standard, the township implemented it, and it didn't have a material impact on your financial statements. Next, if you go to page 5, we get to the first page of management's discussion and analysis. And this section of the report is useful because it's got 8 pages of condensed financial information. You get some financial highlights. You can see 2-year comparative information to get an idea of some of the trends that your finances are showing during the past 2 years. And then there's narrative explaining reasons behind the changes, the significant changes in your assets and liabilities and revenues and expenses during the past 2 years. So starting with the financial highlights, that first bullet point, this is a theoretical number. Hypothetically, if the township were to sell all of its assets, pay all of its liabilities, it would have $23,031,117 left over. It's referred to as your unrestricted net position. And of course, the township has no intention of doing that. But it is useful to know, how is that number doing over time? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? And that's what the second bullet point shows us. During the course of fiscal 25, Township had total revenues of $7.3 million and total expenses of $2.7 million, leading to an increase in your net position of approximately $4.6 million during fiscal '25. And we'll see that's pretty consistent with where your net position, how it increased in fiscal '24 as well. So back-to-back years, strong increasing net position. Third bullet point, now we're looking just at the general fund, so we're excluding the water and sewer fund of the township. We're focusing just on your general fund. And we're looking at the cash basis or the modified accrual basis of accounting. So what are your immediate resources compared to your immediate liabilities? And the difference is fund balance. So total fund balance came in at $20,245,094 during, or as of March 31st, 2025. That represents an increase of about $3.5 million. So in other words, the cash into your general fund exceeded the cash out by approximately $3.5 million during the course of the year. And then the fourth bullet point shows that your unassigned fund balance is $20,242,375, which is about 804% of your total fund balance. Extremely healthy financial position as of March 31st, 2025. So a lot of my clients are dealing with net pension liabilities and retiree health care liabilities, and they're reporting unrestricted net position deficits. You guys are in very solid financial condition as of March 31st. So if you turn now to page 7, we get a look at your assets and liabilities for each of the past 2 years. This is on the accrual or the long-term basis of accounting. Always nice to know how is the cash doing. And you can see the very top row, $27 million approximately of cash. If you look at the second to last column in the total section, that's across all funds of the township, and that compares to about $24.2 million, approximately a $3 million increase in your total cash during the course of fiscal '25. So one would expect with an increasing net position that your cash should go up as well, and that was the case by about $3 million during the course of the year. And then 2 rows up from the bottom, the unrestricted net position of the township was about $19.2 million as of March 31st, 2024. That compares to about $23 million as of March 31st, 2025. So about a $4 million increase in your total unrestricted net position during the course of fiscal '25. Next, if you go 2 more pages to page 9, we get a look at the comparative revenues and expenses. And I'm going to focus again on all funds of the township. So the very last 2 columns, you can see in fiscal '24, 3 rows up from the bottom, there was an increase in net position. In other words, the revenues exceeded your expenses during fiscal '24 by approximately $7 million, and that compares to the column to the left, an increase of about $4.6 million. So as I mentioned, back-to-back years, increasing net position. And really the biggest reason behind that $4.6 million increase in net position, your landfill fees came in at about $3.4 million during fiscal '25. Your investment income, because you guys are investing your funds and maximizing the return on those investments without, following the state's investment policy, you earned $1.3 million of investment income. So strong returns on your assets during the course of the year. So that alone is $4.7 million of revenue, which is the primary reason for the $4.6 million increase in your total net position during the year. So essentially your grants, your unrestricted state aid, your charges for services are breaking even with all the other expenses of the township. So you're charging, everything that you're charging is covering the recurring expenses and those landfill fees, and the investment income with strong investment returns are generating a positive or a healthy increase in your total net position. Next, just a couple more items that I wanted to point out to go all the way to page 44. One of the schedules that we take a look at just to see how well our clients manage their financial condition during the course of the year, how in tune are they with their finances. This is the budget to actual comparison report, and you can see that in your general fund, every department came in at or below. Your budgeted expenditures were your actual expenditures were less than your budgeted expenditures in every department. So no budget exceptions. Typically with our clients, we normally find a couple of departments that go over budget. You guys were very fiscally sound, amended your budgets accordingly to ensure that you spent within limits. And you expected to have revenues equal to expenditures, a zero balance budget, when in reality, your revenues came in ahead of expected levels, your expenditures came in under budget, and altogether you actually had a $3.5 million increase in your general fund balance. So just a really strong budgeting, healthy results. And the only other item that I wanted to point out is the absence of any findings. So we don't put anything in this. One of the things that we are required to do, we don't necessarily render an opinion on your internal control, but we do look at the township's internal controls, and we assess them, and we test them, and we make sure they're effectively designed and operating effectively. And if we see anything that we didn't feel was properly designed, or if there is a control that isn't working effectively, we are required to bring those to the attention of the board and put those in writing. There are no such findings. So again, just kudos to the staff for doing a good job of following sound policies and procedures and producing accurate and timely financial statements. Just a good report all the way around. Those are the highlights that I've got, but I'm happy to take any further questions the board might have.
All right, Joe. Board members, does anyone have any questions for Joe? So I think we're in good financial shape.
Yes. Yep, stronger than most, that's for sure.
We're blessed. So it's, anybody from the audience want to ask a question to the auditor?
Positive is good.
Yeah, so
Good job.
just keeps coming in, so. All right, Joe, we appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight, and tell Matt we missed him. So
Right.
I know he's got a new family, so he's,
Yeah, he's a busy man.
yeah, he is. All right, thanks, Joe, appreciate it. All right, so moving on down to, we have public comment. Who's going to be first? Linda.
Dee can't be here tonight, so she asked me to make her normal announcement.
Okay.
There's a monthly neighborhood and precinct delegate meeting the fourth Thursday of the month. The meetings are a chance to get to know one another as neighbors and talk about current issues. September's meeting will be hosted by Three Cedars Farm. So it'll start off with cider and donuts at 7, followed by an hour of general discussion about what is happening locally in Michigan and in America. Topics vary depending on what the group wants to talk about. Everyone is invited and welcome to attend. There are handouts in the back of the room if you're interested in this. And then also last month, Dee talked about a petition that's circulating that only citizens can vote. She sent one with me. If you've not signed it and would like to, it's in the back of the room here. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, who's next?
I will just say hi, everyone. Sheriff Dyer. I'm here with my under sheriff, Deputy Webb, who normally is going to be attending these meetings, got tied up on a crash. He wanted to remind the Salem community about the construction zones. He's been doing a lot of enforcement around that to make sure that people stay safe on the roadways. And we are also just here to affirm to the board as well as the community that we care about Salem Township. The sheriff's office has, since we started in January, we've assessed everything, and staffing has been a problem for years. And we are working very hard to solve it. We just had 5 academy graduates come out of the Washtenaw Community College Academy. We have 3 more going to Schoolcraft, and we've also hired more before that. So we are going to get up to staff. We definitely care about providing police coverage across our county, and we are going to continue doing that. And so I just wanted to make that clear to the board as well as the whole community. And we're also available if anyone ever has any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so supervisor's comments down here. One I don't know if those of you are aware of. But Dale Commerce's wife, Sharon, he was our treasurer for quite a few years, passed away. And so we want to keep Dale and his family in our prayers and thoughts. Dale's and Sharon are just, I've known them for I don't know how many years. They've served on the board in church for years with him, and Sharon was back into missionary groups, and we just want to lift them up and ask God to give them special strength. So let's have a moment of silence for Dale and his family. Father, we thank Thee for Dale Converse and Sharon and their lives, and we pray that You give Dale comfort at this time. He's such a loving couple and examples of being godly people. We just pray for them, pray for their family. Thank Thee for Dale's service here to the township, and we just pray that You encourage them and have Dale be involved in the township still. We appreciate that, and again, we just lift him up tonight and give him the comfort. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, we're down to consent agenda.
All right.
Clerk Wesley.
Mr. Supervisor, I move that Salem Township approve the following consent agenda items. We have the minutes of August 12th, 2025, the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. Then we have disbursements of August out of the general fund of $374,158.28. We had a payroll of $52,158.63. The escrow fund, $11,268. The sewer fund, $11,902.32. The MEDC water fund, $1,417.62. The MEDC general fund, $12,563.60. Now for the invoices for the month of September. Out of the general fund, we have $197,378.66. Escrow fund, $7,602.25. The sewer fund, $9,822.94. The water fund, $615. And lastly, the MEDC fund, $12,563.60. Do we have a second on all these?
I'll second. Okay, John Daniel seconds. Any other comments on the consent agenda? Okay, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's passed. All right, down to business items. We don't have any, so now we're down to financials, and we have Clerk Wensley. Is that correct?
That is.
All right,
Give me a second, I gotta
no problem.
get back to that section. All right, so we have the first motion, which is a transfer of funds from our Michigan class account to what we call the streetscape account, which is what you're seeing going on right now. I move that Salem Township approve the transfer of $4 million from the Michigan class investment account to the streetscape account, which is 101-443-817-000, to pay for the current invoices for the streetscape construction project. And we approved, the streetscape project, I think, last spring, so now we're just needing to pay the bills and we're transferring the funds. So we'll have a second on these. We'll take care of these.
I'll second.
Okay, TJ McLaughlin seconds it. Any questions about this? I think we received our first bill today, didn't we?
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we need that money in there.
Money, yeah, we gotta pay the bill.
Yeah.
As it's dispersed, will that show up in the disbursements of each month?
Well, that will show up in the disbursements when I read the general fund. The checks will come out of
So
the
it will
general
be a
fund.
separate line item in the disbursements?
Yes. Each, is that how it's gonna work, Lori?
It has its own, it's basically under a streetscape account itself, but it will be in the general fund, and you will see a line for that actually in October.
Okay.
I was just thinking it might be something to keep track of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everything will be based upon that streetscape account number that I read through, that 817 number, so we'll track all the
So we're gonna see a
disbursements.
big bump in expenditure for general fund next month.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
In the next 2 or 3 months, I'm sure.
Okay, we have TJ seconds. Any other questions? Any comments? Okay, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And I think we got one more.
Yes, this is a motion that's just cleaning up the accounting from recommendations from Joe, who was here earlier. This is a motion to approve a transfer of funds from the appropriations account to the contingency account. So I move that Salem Township approve the transfer of $1,000 that is budgeted for the general appropriations account 101-209-961-000 and move that to the contingency account number 101-956-821-000. It's in order to remove that account from the BSNA accounting system. So it's something that's been kind of sitting in the chart of accounts, and we never use the money, so we're just going to clean it up and get it into the contingency account. Do you have a second on this?
I'll second it. Okay, Bruce, seconds. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Okay, Chief is, Rockwell is, I believe, still on that accident, so.
I just cleared it, sir, so.
I mind. Deputy, were you gonna pull me over today?
Well, no, absolutely not. I know your truck. But I was just.
You were right behind me today,
Yeah.
I seen that, it was a disaster over there
Yeah.
that coming in today, so.
Yeah, just going through the construction
No,
zone
I
as
know,
usual.
we appreciate
Yep.
what you've been doing,
So you're
so,
welcome, sir.
we appreciate it. All right, so board discussion, let's, we can give you some updates. We did get some good news from Van Buren Township, that they approved our resolution to get the sewer through that area, so Kevin McNamara is a great guy, and his board approved it unanimously to allow the sewer to come through to give us consent. So that's, we just still have the one more that we've been working on with through Canton Township, and as of this now, we still don't have any word on them giving us that consent. One of the directors has retired from Eagle right now, so that's creating a little bit of a problem, but the director of Eagle is looking into the matter to see how they can proceed. Our engineers and their engineers have been working together and trying to see what kind of flow that they're going to need with the stub that we might put into that pipe, but it's just, we're not paying for their infrastructure problems, and that's where the issue is, which is probably going to be anywhere from $5 to $7 million to improve that infrastructure. So they've been told that they were going to take care of it, but they want to do the engineering before they give us, the grant to go through the road right away. So that just delays it, and meanwhile, we have a developer who's ANSI. And again, for those of you that, most of you have been here all the time, understand it, but it's between the sewer main going through the right-of-way or a wastewater treatment plant on the border on Napier Road. So, and none of us have ever wanted a wastewater treatment plant. We want to do right by having a pipe and going down to Yucca. And so right now, that's where we are. We're just in a holding pattern, so unless you have any updates, Mr. Attorney.
Yeah, no, other than what you already mentioned about Van Buren Township, which was good news, but still, the holdout, only holdout is Canton Township.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
on that point, I noticed in the Canton Township minutes from their last meeting that they approved an $80,000 engineering project with Wade Trim to do this analysis
Right.
tying into the scum. And so, as you kind of indicated, who knows how long that study may take.
Right.
before we get it.
But once again, in all the meetings that we were in, our Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, Warren Evans, all of them understand. Greg Dill was in this meeting with me, and they all understand that that they have to figure out their own infrastructure. So that could take years, or it could take 5 years or 10 years, so they decide how they want to raise the money for this and do it. But meanwhile, make us wait until we can start our engineering to get the pipe through there. So that's where the problem is at. But you're right, they did have Lane Tribb do that study, and but we can't really, let our engineers take off on this because it could be a waste of money. So we are waiting.
Where does that put us in with the contract?
I'm sorry, what?
Where does that put us in like the contract? If he's getting impatient about what's going on, the foot dragging and all this other stuff,
Right.
can he force us to do something we don't want to do?
Well, so the state has issued the permit, and I have asked the state to hold the permit until we can figure this, but again, they put deadlines on this. They actually, I think it was July 31st was one deadline. It's already come and gone. And so the developer is pushing, they're demanding that they release that permit so that we can get started on this or figure something out quickly. So the state knows it, and now it's kind of in their hands, and let's see if they have the power to do this, to get them to realize we need that consent to go through the road right away. And it's better for everybody. That's what we need to do.
Politics,
Right.
makes
Well,
strange color.
Right. All right, any other issues you want to talk about right now? Yeah,
Battery,
what's that?
the battery.
The battery storage, we have not met with them, and they come in, they want to still have meetings, but from what I'm understanding, they still have to have a provider of who's going to provide the power, and we just have asked them to show us that, who is going to be taking that, that.
No change.
Yeah, so we're waiting for them to give us that before we actually meet with them. But they want to meet now, and we're trying to say, well, we need to know if they have somebody who's going to supply the power to service them plant. So, I mean, I think we all know we do not want this in that area because they really haven't provided us with enough information as far as public safety. If something happens there, people on wells, the toxic stuff that could happen. So we have showed them some of their alternatives, and that's kind of fallen off on deaf ears. So
Do you
yes.
know what kind of battery they're recommending with the?
Yeah,
They have not committed. That's I guess, the impasse that we're in right now is they need to, show us who's going to be taking on their output and what storage system they're using. They're probably not going to tell us what storage system until they have a customer to buy the power.
Because different
afterwards.
storage systems have different levels of risk.
Correct. there's one system out there that's been strongly touted as being one of the more safer ones to have. And hopefully we have the authority to insist that
Any other questions?
This is for Dell. Are you aware that South Lyon wants to run or have a vote on their school bond in November?
Yes, so all of the township, all 3 precincts will have an election in November.
Oh, really? So other school districts?
Yes.
Similar.
But because you've always helped us with precinct 3, because the amount of people who will vote will be probably only 20%, if that. So I'm combining precincts, so I'm combining the school to come to the township. So I may send you a letter just to
Sure.
help us out, but,
I just want to make sure you were aware.
yeah.
Just got it in the mail yesterday.
Okay, so we did have some good news also about our store across the street. Someone had come in that's supposed to close on October the 3rd to keep it a general store, and he likes the old-fashioned look of the store and he wants to bring it back, so we're hoping, he also has a catering business, so we're looking forward to have a nice streetscape and maybe the store would open and get back to normal. So,
When's that?
October 3rd, I think, is the closing date on it.
How about the gas station up in Territorial and Hyatt?
Well, they actually have somebody new looking at it again. Yeah. That's the latest we heard. I mean, they put a lot of money into,
That original, yeah.
I know, looked really nice.
Made and everything, yeah.
When should the streets be back to normal or the improvements finished?
I would say before, I'd say around Thanksgiving or before.
Hopefully before the first snowplow.
Yeah, we want that done before that. So. All right, before public comment, I think, again, to close, and then I think the chief's coming in and he might have something, so. Chief, we're waiting for you. If you got anything to say.
Well, you know, obviously, we've had a lot of traffic accidents, so we appreciate the Sheriff's Office definitely helping out with the construction out there. Just got off another car accident, so, you know, we're getting into school. So obviously with the kids and stuff like that, we ask people to kind of pay attention around the schools, and there is kind of some new changes in there as far as driving, so I know the principal's been involved with that. So we've been, like I said, we're starting to get into the fall season, so just pay attention to the driving. We're starting to see an increase in the accidents, especially at these intersections, 8 Mile and Dixboro and North Territorial and Napier Road. So on that, does the board have any questions for me?
We're good. Thanks for helping out on the gas leak the other night.
Yeah, I didn't know if you talked about that.
No, not yet, but
So, yeah, that was, it's quite interesting. We appreciate the resident calling in, because the wall sloughed off, it pulled a gas line out, and unfortunately the wind was blowing towards the town hall. The positive thing was that the only building was affected was the town hall, so at 10:30 on a Saturday night, nobody was here. But we did have to pull all the trucks out because obviously the gas was coming into the building, and we didn't want to lose any vehicles. But we really appreciate the resident kind of walking and letting us know, because it was a significant gas leak.
How did it hit?
what's that?
Did someone bump it?
No, so it was an exposed gas line when they're putting the pipeline through, and sometime in the middle of the night, because we were here earlier for 7 o'clock, somewhere between 7 and 10:30 at night, the side of the wall had slid down and dragged the piping, and it caused the piping to crack or split and cause a gas leak. So literally nobody was here when it occurred. Another reason to stay away from those, those digging excavations. There are some good 30 feet underground there. So done a good job putting the fencing up there. Just make sure the kids stay away, because that wall can slough in, and that'd be the last thing we'd want to do is have to rescue somebody in there.
How quickly was that rectified? consumers come out to fix that?
So we waited an hour for the first consumers person, and we waited another hour for the couple supervisors, and then we waited another hour for the equipment to get out here. So about 3 in the morning is finally when it got shut off. So I don't call that a quick response. The nice thing was none of the residents were affected. They didn't lose any of their gas, and we did do live monitoring around the perimeter to make sure these houses and of course the residents in the store were unaffected. Luckily, it was just the way the wind was blowing, or not blowing, was able to stay kind of around the town hall.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
Bruce, any updates on the waste management?
We'll be meeting
committee
tomorrow, so
meeting?
it's always the day after this meeting. But one of the materials management, one of the things that seems to be a big focus is composting of food waste. Apparently there's a huge amount of what goes into landfills that they feel is controllable, more so than some of the other stuff that ends up in landfill. So it's kind of going to be a big focus on finding ways to gather that up and get it composted properly. Of course, they're looking at food in general. They want to look at everything from making it more usable, getting it to the right hands in the first place, but those things that after serving scraps and when food can no longer be served up, then the best way to manage that afterwards. So that's kind of one of the bigger focuses on the group, is to how to handle some of these things, and then in general updating our goals of how much to try and keep our in these things.
And I guess Gretchen, I talked to Driscoll this week. They got a grant to actually house some of this stuff. We're wondering where we might put something like that for recycling.
Yes, they've got a grant to do some test areas, to get some test data, and we're looking at somewhere around within the parameters of Township Hall property here, trying to get accurate. They are trying to acquire accurate data on how people would use it, or how well, having a drop-off site for that would be a community drop-off site. So we're trying to avoid places that might get outside food waste, so they don't want to put it necessarily in a school parking lot, because a lot of the folks that go to that school may come from South Line. They're looking to have a controlled place where they know that the amount of food scrap from the immediate residents within a certain radius.
All right. Any other comments, questions? All right, we're down to the last public comment. Anybody? All right. Going. All right. Thank you, folks, for being here tonight. There's refreshments, hang out, you have some snacks, and we'll see you next month. Have a great night.
I will mention to our friends in black.
Oh, we're still, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You might, because